Hello viewers and welcome to Novus Talks with me, your host Novus Scorpius. And here's a game I haven't done a video on in a long time, quite a few years actually. Metroid Prime Federation Force. You might be wondering, why am I bringing this up now all of a sudden? I've done a review on the game before, I talked about the lore and all of that sort of thing when the game came out. Why am I bringing it up now? Well, that's because there was a very interesting discovery made recently. The website Shinesparkers, many of you might be familiar with them if you are Metroid fans, they took a look into the game's source code recently and they discovered the model for Sylux. For those of you unfamiliar, Sylux was a bounty hunter in Metroid Prime Hunters. He appeared in the ending of Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, setting up Metroid Prime 4, and then he appeared in a cutscene at the end of Federation Force, but you never get to see his full model, just the shoulder, and for some reason, it always did look a bit strange. Maybe it was the art style, but to me, in the beginning, I wasn't convinced initially that it was Sylux. Yeah, the sort of dark coloring kind of leaned in the direction, but it didn't look right. And well, now we know why it didn't look right, because as you can see here, Sylux has undergone a bit of a redesign. This is interesting. Now, this could just be time, to save time. It could be that this was done last moment, and rather than completely remodel and remold his original design to fit the chibi art style of Federation Force, they took and redesigned the existing assets that are used for the Federation Marines and just colored it purple. And yeah, that is quite likely what happened, but there are some noticeable differences here about Sylux. The visor is different. He has these bits at the side here that are kind of more reminiscent of like Darth Vader almost. The Federation Marines don't have these extra pieces at the side. The coloring is also really odd. He's purple and black, which is not his color scheme. Sylux is blue and green, so at the very least, I'm surprised why they didn't color him blue and green. There is an argument to be made that Sylux could technically be seen as more of a dark bluish purple, but even still, like, if they had added a green stripe on the shoulder, it would have been easier to identify him as Sylux. But this is interesting to me, because even the visor is not green. At the very least, they could have colored the visor green. Now, as I said, this could be that they just took an existing model and repurposed it to save time and save money overall, because this is probably done very last minute, I imagine. But maybe this is actually deliberate, because, you know, why change the visor? We never see his face, so why add those extra bits at the side? It makes me wonder, like, is this a new suit? Did he steal another suit from the Federation, or is this something else? Is this what he's going to look like in Metroid Prime 4? Which is part of why I'm doing this video, because as we know, Sylux is going to have a heavy role, possibly as the main antagonist of Metroid Prime 4. And I've been wondering for a while, you know, surely they're going to redesign him. I love his original design, and I'd be happy for them to keep it, but I feel like because it's a new game, they would change his design, probably tie it into the story somehow. And as we see here, he has this completely, radically different design, and makes you wonder, like, are they going to keep this for Prime 4? Are they going to adapt this for Metroid Prime 4's more realistic style? Or are they going to give him his Prime Hunter suit back? Or is he going to look completely different again? Is he going to be blue and green in Prime 4? Or is he going to be purple and black? These are all things to think about. Again, the most likely circumstance is that they were just short in time and repurposed an existing asset and changed the shoulders instead of making them, because it would have been harder to make them look like the old model. But again, the coloring doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I can't really justify that. And again, I'm going to put it down to the art style, but at the same time, it feels kind of deliberate. The visor at least feels different, because Sylux's helmet is completely different from, you know, typical Federation Marine. It's possible maybe they did this to kind of show he is more human, like we expect? Again, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine here. We don't have enough information here, and we have to remember we were never meant to see this. We literally only see his shoulder in the game. So we're not meant to see the visor, we're not meant to see his legs, his torso, anything like that. So those changes, the visor being blue instead of green, could be because they didn't intend us to see, the visor. Maybe there were plans originally for the full model to be seen, and they changed it to be just the shoulder because we wouldn't recognize him. And maybe it was just hard to adapt Sylux's weird visor to this chibi art style and make it look alright. That's my best guess at it. You'll have to let me know yours down in the comment section below. Do you have any theories on why Sylux looks different? Do you think this is an artistic style? Do you think it hints at the story in Metroid Prime 4? Does it have something to do with the Metroid, And also, one thing I noticed before I end this video here, he doesn't have his weapon. It could be because they needed him to have both hands free because he's infiltrating the base trying to steal the Metroid, but he doesn't have his shock coil, which again could lead to the fact that this is a completely different armor. So does he still have the old armor, or is it gone completely? All things to think about, food for thought really. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. I thought this is a really fascinating discovery. It explains to me finally why I couldn't believe it was Sylux initially. The unrecognizable nature of it suddenly makes a lot more sense. But this does bring up a lot of new interesting questions and fascinating theories. And hey, if we don't get Metroid Prime 4 footage in the next Nintendo Direct, this could be the closest thing we have to go on for a long time. But yeah, it's weird talking about Federation Force again in a video. I brought it up a few times over the years, but I've never done a dedicated video on it since 2016. So it's kind of nice to go back and acknowledge it briefly. Since I've done so much talk on Dread and Samus Returns, it's nice to go back to this game that often gets neglected. But yeah, as I said, let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. And yeah, with that all said, thank you all for watching and please subscribe. Novus Corvius out.